So Chris and I recently sat down to watch Monkey Man from Dev Patel. This is his directorial debut. I've seen him in a lot of stuff over the years. I think one of my favorite roles ever for him was, I think it was Newsroom. Um, anyway, he's a great actor. He's done a lot of really cool stuff. The Green Knight film was really good too. He's done some awesome work over the years. And the story of how this film came to be is almost as interesting as the film itself, in that he was, it was his directorial debut. He got the money. He went and shot it. Netflix had picked it up and was gonna, run it, and then they looked at it and went, "It's way too gritty. We don't think it's gonna work because it has a political discussion here that's not going to resonate well with the Indian audiences." And eventually Jordan Peele came on board, saw it, and was like, "This is amazing," and he was able to get Paramount and convince them to buy it out from Netflix, and it has since become a runaway success. I will gladly say that my enjoyment of this movie is primarily from the perspective of a white man who has not a lot of knowledge about the caste system or the way things work in India. But I do know that it was portrayed in such a way in this film that it made it easy to understand at least the broad strokes of what they were painting here. Because at the core of this film, even though it is sort of like a weird hybrid superhero origin story with a guy who's not really a superhero, he's more just like an action hero, kind of like Batman, so to speak, but the Monkey Man, and but it's also a character that's rooted in myth and legend, and so from an action adventure standpoint, the film is phenomenal. The action sequences are absolutely just killer. Like, this is absolutely a masterpiece in like hand to hand, just fun John Wick style, fast action sequences, and the reckless abandon with which his character seeks revenge for basically the killing of his mother when he was young. And so there's a lot going on here that I, again, freely admit that I can't appreciate from a cultural standpoint. And that was one of the things, I guess, that was part of the issue that Netflix had with the film, was because it had such a dark, gritty take on the caste system and the way things, the way people are treated in India. I guess it rubbed people the wrong way. But ultimately, thanks to Jordan Peele, this film was able to get off the ground. In essence, this is basically just a revenge film. I believe it's categorized as an American action thriller film, but I would call this more like a revenge film, because it's all about him going after the guy who massacred his village and his mother when he was young. There's there's corruption, corrupt police chiefs. And we get a lot of flashback sequences here of him from when he was a kid, remembering back to his mother, and the teachings that she gave him. And now he's, flash forward, he's fighting in these rings and in underground fighting rings, and working his way up, and basically gets to the point where he can sneak his way into the services of a criminal organization, which is headed by the guy who took out his mother and the village. This is when we get into it's weird because there's a community here. Basically, part of what happens here is, in his first assassination attempt to take out the guy, he fails, and he ends up basically almost being killed, and he gets rescued by a local temple with a community of, I believe it's the Hijra, if I pronounce that right, which are transgender, intersex, or eunuch people living in small communities. They have a very similar community here within the Mayan culture as well, of transgender hermaphrodite people. I wish I could remember what they're called, but it's interesting to see them being brought to light in a film like this, because I think it's great to see the cultural differences that exist between, that's why I question when the film is categorized as an American action thriller film. It's not really an American film. I understand that it's categorized as that because it was financed on this side, but this is very much a film that is all about the Indian culture, the Hindu culture, if I'm saying that right. Again, I'm somebody who's probably stumbling into territory where I could get in trouble for being not politically correct, but it's just a movie review, so what do I know? I told you all at the beginning I don't know all the intricacies of this. Um, and from there he begins to heal up and work his way back to finally taking out the guy. And everything about this is, he's helped by, the girl who's also like a prostitute at the place, which is a trope, but it works. I believe it was also her. I don't think it was her. The actress. I don't believe it was her debut, but I think this might have been like her second film, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna butcher her name. Sobhita Dhulipala. But also Sharlto Copley showing up in this really creepy role as the promoter of the underground fight club. And the reason he's in this film, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was because originally this film was pitched to. I'm going to read this to make sure. Patel had originally attempted to recruit Neil Blomkamp to direct, and of course, Sharlto was in District 9, which as his film debut. And anytime Sharlto shows up in something. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. I don't really care what role it is. He is a brilliant actor who brings some sort of pizzazz to every role he does, and he plays a slimy guy in this film. It's really really gnarly. And then behind everything is like this like religious figure who's trying to take over the country, using religion as a shield, but he's also this corrupt dude who uses money and assassinates people and has his crime lords and everything else, and it's a really, like, again, this has a lot of cultural elements going on that I don't fully understand because it's filmed there. It's no different than like when I watch a lot of, even though I've been in Mexico for many years and I understand most of the culture here. Sometimes when a film is a purely Mexican film, there will be references that even I don't understand because I haven't grown up here. So even though I'm married to a Mexican and I spend a lot of my time here, cultural films I think are great for helping us bridge the gap between what would traditionally be just an action film and give us something that's a unique take on an action film, because it's more than just your typical Batman revenge story. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there are layers to what's going on here with like the religious aspects, and going from there, and also the the legend of the monkey man himself. Now, this doesn't necessarily have a good ending. It's sort of a I would say it could be ending. I think you're supposed to think that he passes away from his injuries at the end of the film after he takes care of all the bad guys. But it's kind of left open-ended, and I think that's interesting in the sense that it's up to your interpretation, because you never know, they might want to swing back around and do another one of these, especially considering it made tens of millions of dollars against a $10 million budget. So I'd say in terms of Dev Patel having a knockout first home run, as his debut film, writing, directing, everything else, very well done. It was really interesting to see him do something like outside of everything I've seen him do before, because I've seen him do a lot of drama and comedy and other stuff. He's a great actor. This is an action film, and he not only wrote it, directed it, and co-wrote and stuff, but also being there, choreography, doing all the choreography. I guess he broke his hand during like the first week of the first fight sequence. There's some crazy stuff that happens in this film. It's visually very stunning. The soundtrack is amazing. Highly recommend that you watch this if you haven't already done so. Let me know your thoughts below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next one, everybody.